Hey guys, it's Fadzy again. Well, in this video, I'm going to be talking more about what happened after I lost my son. So I'm not gonna get into detail about the last video. If you guys wanna know more about what happened before, you can watch my previous video. I'll just put the link below. So I'm gonna get into this one because it's a bit too long. So also I'm gonna tell you guys just a little bit of how I coped after I lost my son. I coped really well because I had good support system. I had people from church. I had my mother-in-law. I had my husband. I had my brother and his family. So I coped really well. Well, that's the secret to coping very well. You need people to support you. So yeah, let's get into this one. So after I lost my son, I got pregnant again just a month after. But I didn't find out there and then. I found out 2 months after. 2 months after, yeah. So I lost my son in September. I found out that I was pregnant in December, but I was already 8 weeks pregnant. So what happened for me to know that I was 8 weeks pregnant is I started bleeding. And well, in this video I'm going to be getting into a lot of details, so if you guys don't want to hear these little things, you know what to do. So I found out that I was bleeding. So I had found out that I was pregnant, and then afterwards, like 2 weeks after I found out, I started bleeding. So I went to the A&E and they told me that I was having a miscarriage. So I was very upset, but I wasn't as upset as before because this was early, around 8 weeks. So I was still upset that it was happening, but I wasn't very upset about it. So they told me that they were going to book me in for a scan. Anyways, even though this was happening, so they booked me in for a scan, and I had to go after the weekend. So it was on a Friday when I went to the A&E, and I had to go on a Tuesday to have the ultrasound done. So when I had that done, my baby was there, and the person saw the heartbeat, and she was like, "Oh, your baby's fine, and your baby's there." And I was thinking, so how come I'm bleeding? I'm pregnant, and how come I'm bleeding? So I was happy then that obviously my baby was still there. I don't know where this bleeding was coming from, and she couldn't explain it as well. So went home, everything was fine. Come New Year Day now, I was at work, finished work, and I felt something very weird. So I decided to go to the toilet and check myself. So I did that, and I was bleeding again. This time it was a bit different because I was really bleeding very heavily and with massive clots. So I rushed to the A&E. Me and my husband got there, and the doctor that I saw told me that this was definitely a miscarriage. He actually said it was definitely a miscarriage. There's no way that I could be bleeding that much and not miscarry. And with the type of blood that was coming out and the amount of blood that was coming out, the clots and everything, so he told me that I'm really sorry, this is a miscarriage. Anyways, we'll book you for a scan again. They did that. I went to the scan, and guess what? My baby was there, live and kicking. This time was a proper little person with little arms and little legs, and it was very exciting to see her. And she was 12 weeks pregnant. She was 12 weeks then. So now I was worried that I'm bleeding. We don't know where the blood is coming from, and weird. Anyways, I went home. I thought, oh well, as long as my baby's fine, this bleeding, I can deal with it. So it stopped. I stopped bleeding, and everything was fine. 20 weeks came now, and I was very scared. Like, it brought all the memories from my previous pregnancy, and so this time I was more stressed out. and 21 weeks came, 22 weeks came. I was getting excited that thank you Lord, I've managed to come this far. Just 2 more weeks, and I know that if anything happens, the doctors will do something and try to save my baby. So at 22 weeks I was still pregnant and nothing had happened. So I remember I was sleeping and my husband wasn't around, so his phone kept ringing me. So I was thinking, why is he ringing me at this time? It was 5 a.m. in the morning. He knows that if once I wake up, I find it hard to go to sleep. So I picked up. No one was on the line. I put the phone down, but I was very angry, guys. So his phone he rang me again, and then I picked up the phone. No one was on the line. He rang me about 4 times or 3 times. Not really sure, but... And then I decided to call his landline at work. I phoned him. And then I was like, why did you keep ringing me? And he was like, I didn't phone you. I was like, oh, well, your phone is calling, your phone keeps ringing me, so you need to switch it off. So he switched it off. I thought, let me go to the toilet, and you know, since I'm awake, you know, when you're pregnant, you always want the toilet. So I went to the toilet, and when I finished my business, I stood up, and I felt something was hanging down there. So I took a tissue wipe now, and this wasn't blood. It was a massive, like a big chunk of mucus. It was a big chunk of mucus. So I took it, I put it in a tissue, I wrapped it, and then I put it in this little container. I phoned the hospital straight away, told them what had happened and what I seen, and she was like, oh, you know, are you having any pain? I was like, no. Okay, go back to sleep. If anything happens, come to the hospital. I was like, okay. I went back to sleep, but I was more worried. So 2 hours later, I woke up. I thought, you know what, I'm going to the hospital. I phoned them. I told them I'm coming in because I'm really worried, because what happened before, I don't want to risk staying here, and this thing might, you know, be serious. So I went into hospital. Pardon. I went in hospital, and the midwife checked me, and she was like, I'm really sorry, you've lost your mucus plug, so you're likely to go into labor. And I was thinking, not again, not again. I wasn't ready for that one. I wasn't ready at all. And I remember, and then she said, oh, they decided to keep me in the hospital for the whole night. They said, we're gonna keep you in and see if you go into labor, because we can't afford to try and do the cervical suture if we don't know if you're gonna go into labor or not. Because if we do, then no matter what we do, if you go into labor, that your baby will still come out, and your cervix might be, you know, ripped and all that and whatever. So they kept me in the hospital the whole night. I didn't go into labor. I didn't have any pain. My waters didn't break. Nothing happened. And they told, in the morning staff told me that I was gonna go into theater at 9 o'clock to have the cervical suture done. So I was very excited about that, because obviously I knew that this time they can do something, and there was no question. And 9 o'clock came. The consultant came in, and she told me that, oh, she was gonna attend to me, and there are risks she might pop the waters while she's trying to do the procedure, and I have to agree to those risks and everything. But she told me that she had an emergency, so she couldn't take me in. So she went and told me that, oh, as soon as we are free, we'll take you in theater and do the procedure. I was like, okay, then that's fine. 12 o'clock came. They told me the same story. They were busy. 2 o'clock, they were busy. 3 o'clock, they were busy, but she had to go home as well, because her shift was finished. So I was thinking, hold on, so my situation is not an emergency, but anyway, to them it was an emergency. So oh well. So she went out, and and made some phone calls, whatever she did, and there was a male consultant that came to see me now. He was very serious and very, you can tell when someone is strict, and he was very, those kind of strict people. He was very, very serious. So he just came in and he was like, oh, we're gonna do this and do that. He never like chat to me or listen to, you know, anything that I had to say or ask, and he just stood up and went away. He was like, I'll see you in theater, and then he went. And then 30 minutes later they came in and they took me to theater, and I went in by myself. My husband wasn't allowed in, so I went in and they did the procedure. It was successful, and he came out and explained what was going to happen, what I was supposed to do, and how many times I had to see him afterwards. And I was like, thank you for helping me and everything. And this guy, you won't even believe it, guys, he only came in to see me. After he finished dealing with me, put his clothes on, and he was going back home. And I was thinking, wow, that's favor from God. No way. Like, he didn't even come to see anyone else. He only come to attend to me. I felt really special, and I was so excited because this consultant as well, he was very positive compared to the one that was there before. She was talking, she never said anything positive. She only kept mentioning the risk and what could go wrong and what couldn't be done right and whatever. But this one, he never said anything. He knew what he was doing, and he did his job. So thanks to him. And so afterwards, I had to leave the hospital. Oh, before that, when I left the hospital, I went to see my midwife and explained everything to her that had happened to me, because I'd missed some few appointments with her due to being in hospital for like 7 days. So I went to see her and explained everything to her, what had happened. And so she saw my notes. I didn't know this. So she saw my notes and she was like, you were 5 centimeters dilated. I was thinking, what do you mean I was 5 centimeters dilated? I never went into labor. She was like, no, look, the consultant wrote that you were 5 centimeters dilated. I was like, how is that possible? I never had any pain. And she was like, wow, I don't even know as well, because that's amazing that you go 5 centimeters. That's like halfway through your labor, and you are not in pain, and they still managed to do this. So me hearing that, finding out that, I was happy and excited, and I was thinking, wow, there's an amazing God somewhere doing amazing things for me. So I finished the cervical suture. So at 28 weeks now, after that the whole process, everything was fine. At 28 weeks, I found out that I had gestational diabetes. So that wasn't easy for me to accept, because I know due to history in my family, the diabetes thing. So I was more worried that, oh God, what's gonna happen to me? Why this and that? Why is everything bad happening to me? The suture, almost losing my baby, now gestational diabetes. But yeah, they explained to me that, oh, sorry guys, my baby's crying. So hey guys, sorry about that. My baby was crying, so I had to go and attend. So yeah, as I was saying, after I found out the gestational diabetes at 35 weeks, I was told that my baby wasn't growing. Yeah, she's here. I was told that my baby wasn't growing, so they told me that if that carried on for 2 weeks, they were going to induce me. So I went for a scan 35 weeks, and then at 36 weeks, I had to have this stitch removed, which was very painful. That procedure was really, really painful. And so with me, what they did is they told me to come in. I went in, and they told me that they were just gonna remove it. They wouldn't put me under any surgery or anything. So I asked for gas and air. They gave me that because I couldn't cope with the pain. It was very painful. The gas and air did help, so I used that, and they removed the stitch. When they removed the stitch, I thought probably I'm gonna go into labor, since obviously due to me knowing that I have a weak cervix, so that's why they had to put the stitch in. And I thought that at 36 weeks, when the stitch is removed, my baby's gonna come, but she didn't. I had to wait for another week to go for the other ultrasound, and then they told me that it was on a Thursday when I went in. They told me that the baby still wasn't growing from 35 weeks to 37 weeks, so they had to induce me the next day. So I went in on the Friday and they induced me, and nothing happened that night until the next day I went into labor. My labor was very traumatic, and if you guys want to know about that, you can just let me know and I can do a video on that. But because my baby's grown now, well, anyways, some people might want to know, so if you want to know, I can do a video on that. But when my baby was born, she wasn't breathing properly. So, well, I don't know if she wasn't breathing properly or she wasn't breathing at all or whatever, but they had to resuscitate her. And as soon as she was born, the midwife pressed the emergency button because they put the baby on me, and my baby wasn't crying, so they had to start doing whatever they had to do. And I was thinking, no way. From going through all this through my pregnancy, and I'm thinking now my baby's finally here and she's not breathing. That was it for me, because I was thinking, wow, where does that happen at? I can't even explain that I was in pain, but I was more in shock. But anyways, they did whatever they could do, and my baby started coughing and she started crying, and I was relieved then, and I was happy. And I was so happy that, you know, God is amazing, honestly. That's all I can say. For me to, wow, go through all that. I mean, thinking about it, looking back now, there are some people that go in these situations here, trust me, and their results are totally different, but mine was an amazing result and a blessing. So yeah, you know, when you've got gestational diabetes, also they tell you that they have to check your baby to the sugar levels and see if she's okay or not. But my baby was fine, and the reason why they said that she wasn't growing is because of how she was positioned in my stomach. She was the right weight and the right size for her for when she was born, but they thought that she wasn't growing because of how she was sleeping in there. Well, she still does that even now. She folds her hands and her legs all together in, like, she sleeps like in a like a little, I don't know how she does it, but yeah, I think she finds comfort in that. So when she's sleeping like that, you probably think she's so tiny, but yeah. So that's the reason why they thought that she wasn't growing, but she was fine. She was growing really well, and she started breathing very well, and she didn't have any gestational. Her sugar levels were just normal. So I'm thankful for that as well, because other babies, when they come out, you've got gestational diabetes, the babies are big and the levels are not stable. So I'm thankful that my baby's sugar levels were very good, and she was a healthy baby. She's a healthy baby even now. I just want to share this story with you guys, so that you guys know that whatever that happens in life, there's a reason and a purpose for it. And I am grateful, and we should all be grateful, because God loves us and God is amazing. He done amazing things for me, and he can do it for you as well, if you just believe in him and just trust him. I did trust him with this pregnancy, I'm not even gonna lie. My life changed. It's like I started knowing God even more. I think, yeah, seriously guys, I think I went through what I went through so that God can bring me closer to him. Because for now, I feel like I'm more closer. So yes guys, sorry about that, my camera just went off. So yes, we just need to be grateful and thankful So if you like the video, share, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in my next video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. When Jesus says yes, nobody